Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Somos Mas, the official podcast of Somos Mas NM and your source for the latest news and notes on New Mexico United and the New Mexico Runners. My name, of course, is Seth Bidoff. Joining me tonight, we have Jacob Terrell and somehow, amazingly here tonight, Earl Nieto. Glad to have you guys both here in the house. Full chairs, and again tonight, excited to see it. We've got a whole lot to get to. Before we do jump into the show, do want to, of course, remind everyone we are live across YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook, as we are each and every Tuesday night. If you are here in the chat with us, be sure to throw your questions and comments over in there. We will get to those throughout the show. We love hearing from you guys. We have a lot to talk about this week, and I have one burning question to ask you guys. Is it a little salty in here?
Yes. Listen. Did you know that there's a Lego bridge that you could walk across in Germany?
I did know that.
Jacob, did you know? You're on mute.
I did not, and I don't care.
Now you do. Now you do.
I still don't care, actually.
That's only one of many that I have going today.
You should care, Jacob. You should, because, Lego is the toy that makes the world go round.
I would care if it was in the United States where I may be able to go to it, but I don't plan on going to Europe anytime soon, so
fair enough.
Does me no good.
Just wait till your boys are old enough, take them over to Legoland, introduce them to everything there. They'll enjoy it.
Plan.
Yeah. Joke's on you. I have no boys. Listen, did you know sunglasses were originally designed for Chinese judges to hide their facial expressions?
Was that when you said no boys, were you referring to balls? Because I feel like you were referring to balls.
Look. If you're a wrestling fan,
that's why you're.
If you're a wrestling fan
on your anniversary, apparently.
Rip Jeff Hardy's career.
Look, if you're a wrestling fan, I can be like the Miz right now and talk about my balls for 20 straight minutes.
Can I go to bed? This was an Earl free podcast.
We thought so too, Harry.
We all did.
They were excited, and I just randomly showed up
until about 10 minutes ago when all hell broke loose.
Yeah. About 10 minutes ago, I got a text from Earl saying, "Hey, did you send out the show link yet?" I said, "I thought you weren't going to be here." And sure enough, here he is. So Earl is with us. We're going to have a lot of fun tonight. Harry, appreciate you being over in
little ball.
Appreciate you being in the chat, Harry, as always. Hopefully your trip up to Colorado has gotten a little bit better than the greeting you got from the Bears up there. So Jacob, how's the Avs game going tonight?
There's not one tonight.
I thought they were playing tonight, or is that tomorrow?
No, they played tomorrow. They played last night and they play tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
They lost
so you have my full attention. The Avalanche are up 2-1.
2-1. Okay. So we have your full attention.
Lost last night 6-2.
They did lose last night 6-2.
All right.
They won the game before that 7-0 though. So
yeah, because it became a history game last night. Did you know? This is a sports fact, by the way. The Avalanche have become the first team in Stanley Cup playoff history.
Fair, Harry. Fair.
Whatever. It's all meshing together. I've been on vacation for 5 days right now. It's meshing together. Anyways,
they played last night. He's saying that the Avalanche didn't play last night.
Oh,
because they got their.
That's my mind. Anyways, the Avalanche last night became the first team to win by more than 5 goals one night, and then lose by more than 5 goals the next.
We didn't lose by more than 5 goals. Do your math,
by
Earl.
5 goals, whatever.
No, we lost by 4.
4. That's a government employee for you. That's a government employee.
Wait, a government employee on vacation
for the past 5 days, and it's not over until 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more 5 more days.
Well, there you go. Well, by the time you get done with your vacation, I'll be leaving on vacation more than likely, or pretty close to it. So, we got so much to get to. First thing I want to get to. And this is kind of big news. I saw it being tweeted around. I don't know if it made it over to Facebook or other places, but apparently over the weekend, obviously El Paso Locomotive and Detroit City FC had a match that was broadcast live nationwide on ESPN, not ESPN Plus, not ESPN2 News, Deportes, anything like that, on the flagship ESPN channel. Outdrew MLS games. Official numbers are El Paso and Detroit City pulled in 197,000 views for that match on Saturday. Earl, I mean, how big of a deal is this that USL is pulling numbers over on ESPN proper?
It would be a big deal if it was like any other team, but because it's Phoenix or because it's El Paso, no one cares.
Well, see, I think that's different though.
No one cares. No one cares.
No, it was just Detroit City that played, and only people watched Detroit City. Absolutely, you know, Detroit City had a scrimmage, an inter-squad match there on Saturday, and still pulled 200,000. I mean, obviously, we're not El Paso fans at all, but in terms of the league, I mean, this has to be a significant moment for the league to show the growth and the numbers that the league is going to pull. Given the right amount of exposure. I mean, Jacob, what was your thought on those numbers?
I mean, overall, it's good for the league. I wish it was 2 other teams that happened to play that game, because I think there's probably 12 teams in the league that I think if it's any matchup between those 12 teams, that it's going to do that. No, those kind of numbers would be my guess, anyways. And so for it to be those 2 fan bases is just kind of annoying. So,
yeah. All right, Robert over in chat. Hey, appreciate you popping in, Robert. Robert and I were talking over in the USL show chat earlier. Still some bad feelings about the supposed Chris Weehand handball.
You show me a definitive angle of that handball, and I will cop to it.
There
is not a definitive angle. The refs didn't call it. Here's an idea: score a goal in 120 minutes.
There you go. That's exactly what I was saying. Show me a definitive angle of the handball. And Harry sent me something in a DM the other day. I won't tell you guys what it was, but I'm looking forward to seeing that. And of course, El Paso does wave little flags. Little brother had to try to copy us and do what they do. So, but yeah, I mean, I think to Harry's point here, you know, as a league, you have to support the thing. Now, obviously, it didn't pull as much as the MLS match over on ABC, which is around, I think it was 550,000, but still.
So let me correct myself.
Okay.
Because yes, it is a big deal that a USL championship broadcast pulls that kind of numbers on ESPN, which is obviously I can't do it with the chat today. I gotta go to private chat so I don't see all the bullshit coming through. So yeah, it's obviously a big deal that USL pulls big numbers in ESPN. But like I said, no one cares because it's El Paso.
Well, see,
if it was any other team playing Detroit City, shit, it could have been fucking Loudon. And I would have been okay with it. It could have been any other fucking team other than El Paso, and I'd been okay with it. But because it's El Paso, no one cares.
See, I have to differ. And again, we don't like El Paso, but
you're a soulless bastard. No one wants to hear
it. The match on Saturday that we saw was a really well played match between Detroit City and their inter-squad match. And so I think it just goes to display. The only one that
watched it, I think.
I mean, there were at least 196,000 other people that watched it along with me. So it was really good football that we saw. And I think it's a huge step for the USL, not only to get the airtime on ESPN proper, but to put on a match that was really well played, and to have Devin Kerr on the call for that match and the background of Keyworth, I thought was fantastic. Now, obviously, there are some clubs that I think are going to draw better than those two, but you still have to look at it from the standpoint of, you know, the league. I mean, those are massive numbers, and that's only the first of more broadcasts to come over on ESPN. And on the heels of the MLS announcement with Apple, like, I have to think that ESPN is going to start looking at this and say, hey, ESPN or somebody is going to say, hey, maybe we have another product here that we should be pushing and putting into those time slots. Or do you guys disagree with this? Do you think that this is more on the fact that MLS isn't getting the push that it should?
My God, are you still talking?
Oh, it'd be nice to be able to miss you every once in a while, Earl.
You do. That's what the other 7 days, other 6 days are for.
That's fair. It'd be nice to miss you on the podcast, I should say.
You had 2 weeks ago to do that, or 3 weeks ago.
Oh, when just Harry was on. That's right. Forgot. Anyways, what was the question? Earl distracted me.
The question was, is this more about the product that USL is putting out, and do they deserve a better push? Like, does ESPN or someone else come in and start looking at the USL as a product because the USL TV rights deal is up in 2023? Or is this more that MLS doesn't get the push from ESPN?
I have so many problems with ESPN right now, which I know that is a ongoing joke in the MLS world, anyways. But I think, oh hey, there's Sombrero Man on Facebook. I think with MLS moving to Apple TV here soon, ESPN would be smart to push us a little bit more and try to keep our rights, because you need, to me anyways, you need some kind of soccer right now. It's not blowing up. It's not NBA, NFL numbers, obviously, but there is clearly enough of a soccer fan base in the United States that you want a piece of that pie. And if Premier League is NBC and MLS is going to Apple TV, if ESPN can keep us and Bundesliga, then they at least have a small chunk of that pie when it comes to soccer.
And I think Sombrero Man brings up a great point here. World Cup is just months away. I mean,
should be right now, but
yeah, should be right now, obviously. But with World Cup, just around the corner, this is a wonderful time for ESPN or some other entity to step in and really start pushing domestic soccer and start that pathway into 2026 to see where the growth could go. And here too, if Lou City Hartford, we got a couple of comments about that. Now, I don't know how big Lou City and Hartford are going to draw, because Hartford's not necessarily a good team. Lou City is. So I think if you look at the demographics of that after that, I think you'll get a lot of people tuning in from the Lou City area, or from other spots around the league, that tend to be football hotspots. But for Hartford, probably not. But yeah, I think going forward, as you look at these individual matches, I think it could be a good barometer for what the league could do in the future, or where that growth is going to be.
Question for you guys, and also you guys in the chat. In your opinion, what two teams would draw the most numbers in the USL?
Ooh. I think looking at who we have right now this year playing well, I mean, you would either need a rivalry game, like over in the chat here, like Lou City Tampa, that would be a good matchup. Two good Western Conference clubs, or I mean, you would want a good like cross league matchup. Like Detroit City is going to pull well against anybody from the West right now, because Detroit City has been playing well. You throw Pittsburgh in there, you throw Tampa. I mean, you could probably throw
Seth, I
San
asked
Diego.
for two teams, not the whole freaking league.
I'm not giving you the whole league. I'm not going to throw you anyone in the bottom half of either league. I mean, you're looking at the top 3 or 4 in each conference, really.
So if you had to narrow it down to one matchup, what would it be?
San Diego, Detroit. How about that? I think that would be an interesting matchup. you're going to have the Landon Donovan storyline. You're going to have Detroit City storyline. I think that match would pull.
Got anything, Earl?
Yeah, I was waiting for Seth to finish his breakdown of the league.
Okay.
Sombrero Man said it on his comment there. I think us in El Paso, as much as I hate giving El Paso any kind of credit, fucking bullshit. As much as I hate giving El Paso any kind of credit, I think us and them, because that's a rivalry game, and going back 2 years where we played them every other fucking week, that would probably be the one that I would see pulling.
So I think my opinion of this is I think it would have to be a cross division, an intra-division. I always get those two mixed up. Cross division matchup. So we need an East versus a West. I think you need an East versus a West to kind of get the whole country kind of into it. I don't think a New Mexico United El Paso game would get the best numbers. We'd get numbers, don't get me wrong. I just don't think it would get the best numbers. I do think we could be involved if we were on the road. And so I think us versus a Lou City in Lou City, or us versus like a Pittsburgh who has been around for a long time.
That's a shout right there, Carlos.
I don't know how I like Memphis, and that could be there.
See, I think the only way that us versus Lou City would draw is if we were both sitting number one.
No, I think Lou City has a pedigree of 4, 5, 6 years worth of good performance, and has been showcased on ESPN2 and ESPN News and ESPN Deportes several times. And there's a reason why they're always on those games, because those games do numbers when they're on those channels. So I think that anything Lou City is involved in, anything Detroit City is involved in, Memphis, I'm not sure they have the longevity that some of these other teams have, or the fan base that some of these other teams have. Like, we don't have the longevity, but we know our fan base is very big and would draw. Memphis, I don't think, has that size of fan base, and they don't have that history going back, because they came into the league the same year we did. So not a terrible decision, but no. You have to have both teams as name brands, and I don't think New Mexico or San Antonio has that draw just because of the name. That could be. We also have a quarterfinal run in the Open Cup that I think got our name kind of out there nationwide, that could be like, oh yeah, I've heard of these teams. I've heard of this team, and I've heard of Lou City. Let's watch this game. I do think I liked Harry's Phoenix Detroit matchup because that one, it would just be spicy. It'd be the saltiest matchup of fan bases I've ever seen in my life. And,
Twitter would go nuts over that.
Oh, Twitter would break. Twitter would just crash. We would no longer have Twitter, or it would take a while to get Twitter back up if that matchup happens, especially if that matchup happened when both teams are good. So not this year.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is Detroit City, Phoenix, New Mexico, Lou City, something along those lines of East versus West.
Hey, Jacob,
I think would do good. I didn't name 17, Seth. And the Phoenix Detroit City was Harry's, not mine.
Fair enough. Speaking,
I'll kick you out of here too.
I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens with the numbers going forward. Obviously, Lou City Hartford this coming weekend. It's going to be interesting to see. I'm definitely going to keep an eye on it. Not necessarily the match itself, because I feel like Lou City's going to run away with that one. But I want to see the numbers. I want to see how that draws and see what happens there. But speaking of websites going down, apparently the USL Championship website did go down earlier today, on the heels of the news coming out that New Mexico United's match against RGV for tomorrow night had been rescheduled.
It's rigged.
apparently it's rigged. Apparently it's a giant conspiracy theory. But New Mexico United and RGV, as we mentioned, are going to have 2 matches coming up here in just a couple weeks, July 6th and July 9th. But this was obviously big news, made some people a little bit salty again. New Mexico United, of course, announcing another scheduled date that people believed was no longer available, or that wasn't there before, and that United just pulling stuff out of their asses. I actually
Hey,
spoke.
you can't say that.
I spoke to the club earlier. I was having a back and forth with someone at the club, and direct question: any chance you can clarify the rescheduled date for RGV? Why were we able to fit this one in on the 6th and not Rising? Now, obviously, we know what happened with the Phoenix Rising match, rescheduled on very short notice. That match was moved from Isotopes Field to the UNM Soccer Complex. Response I got was, it's a good question. Ultimately, the Topes were able to get us a date this time. We have next no control over this stuff. We're at the mercy of the venues. So I did follow that up. I asked, I did re-verify that the Los Dos match that was scheduled for October 5th was in the hands of the league prior to Phoenix Rising needing to be rescheduled. So that date was out for that match. And the other issues, apparently it was the Isotopes saying no. Obviously, they are the primary tenants of Isotopes Park. And although the city owns it, Isotopes do run and operate it. And so they do have veto power over additional matches or rescheduled matches there at the field. Now, obviously, this week was because of the amount of rain we had been getting, causing issues with the field, which is causing issues with the conversion itself, which could in turn turn into player safety issues or actually damaging the field at Isotopes Park. So that's what it is. It's not New Mexico United picking out the date. It's not anything like that. That's not what happened with Phoenix. That was the Isotopes stepping in saying, hey, you can't have this date. You can't have this date. You can't have this date. I mean, the conversion time is hard enough as is. It's typically around a 48 to 72 hour turnaround to even get the pitch ready. So we'll bring in some of Harry's comments here. I think when New Mexico United gets a stadium, that you have that soccer atmosphere that hopefully it would bring. Then I can see NMU hosting major matches like that. Absolutely there. And then who here? But since NMU can pick dates out of the blue for some games and others, there's nothing available. Again, that I just addressed that. It's United is at the mercy of UNM, at the mercy of the city, at the mercy of the Isotopes, which all goes into we need a soccer specific stadium. And you're absolutely right here. It does look poor, on both. And it's not that they weren't flexible for RGV. It's not the club, it's not the league, it's the Isotopes. Because it's the Isotopes ground crew that comes in. They're the ones that handle the field conversion. They're the ones that take care of all that. That's not United's call. So, it's just really unfortunate. And here, you need a soccer specific stadium. Yes, we do. And we are expecting an announcement at some point, hopefully in the next month or two still. So, first of all, thoughts on the rescheduled match, and then thoughts on what United's having to deal with in order to get these matches put into place. Earl, let's start with you.
It literally doesn't matter about the reschedule because it's not going to be any kind of advantage for us. They're still playing on a fucking Wednesday night. Yeah, it's 2 weeks later, but they're still playing on a Wednesday night. Not like a Saturday or a Friday night where we can draw crowds in. No, you're going to play on a Wednesday night where everyone has to go to fucking work on Thursday morning. And also with that reschedule, that puts United playing 5 games and 15 matches where they're playing pretty much every other day.
Yeah.
So it does no good for us. And for the Phoenix fans who are crying about it, they can just pretty much shut up about it because it does us no good.
I agree, Harry. Back-to-back against RGV is a little odd. But, it's we pulled the short straw with RGV. We played them 3 times this year. So, with the and talking to the club, like there were literally like no other dates available, and it's not like a United saying, "Hey, there's no dates." It's again working with the city, the Isotopes, UNM, like, and I said, "Are there any other dates available?" And they couldn't think of any possibilities. All right, Jacob, what's your take on all this? You got to unmute first.
Yeah, I like it better the way it was.
Yeah, you probably will by the time I'm done. Deep breath. Okay. Two things. One, our field does not suck near as bad as some soccer-specific stadium fields suck. Looking at what match was that? The Sacramento match, I think it was the other day.
Sacramento's was terrible.
that was
Atlanta United 2's was terrible the other day too.
I mean, so is it a great situation to be playing on a
Did we
baseball
talk
field?
about El Salvador's?
El Salvador's was a joke. But
you got CONCACAF.
But that point one, Harry, it looks poor on New Mexico and USL headquarters. No, it doesn't. It's a shitty situation that turned into another shitty situation that turned into another shitty situation. It sucks, but it doesn't look near as poor as the Phoenix fans would lead you to believe. If you look at the schedule, there was just nothing that we could do. It just is what it is, and that's all. That I don't know what else. I don't know what Phoenix wants from us. I don't know what Phoenix fans want from us. I think they want us to die, or
they want us to move the
exist.
match to Phoenix. That's what they want.
Yeah, so that match happened 2 months ago. We have talked about it on like 5 different fucking episodes. It's the definition of beating a dead horse. And so then Rising should just be better, Harry.
So exactly. You know what? That comment there, Harry, and I never call comments an idiot, but that's an idiot comment.
You call plenty of comments idiots, Earl, but
I know. I've never called Harry's comments an idiot.
No,
if you
that's
look
true.
at it, Rising lost 7-0 to us. Okay. Whatever. They played their scrub unit. They played their fucking grandmas that they had to go dig out of the grave. Whatever the fuck happened. Okay. But the next 4 or 5 games, what happened? They didn't play their scrub units. They're playing fucking Santi Moar and Joey Calistri and all their fucking starters, and they're still fucking losing. So no, I don't want to fucking hear it that if they miss the playoffs, it's because of goal differential. They're gonna miss the playoffs because they fucking suck.
So I will back
Sorry,
up
I got a
just
little
a
heated there.
I'll back up just a hair. If you're talking about just that situation, just the Phoenix game, I will say yes, it does look bad on New Mexico, or not New Mexico United, but the situation is just bad. It looks bad. But for them to keep bringing it up after we scheduled the Los Dos match, which already had the date held, this situation here, they're all separate entities. They're all separate situations. And so for those to all be looked at as one thing is what I think doesn't look poorly, because they're all different situations. They are not connected. The only way that they are connected is the fact that we couldn't put Phoenix on October 5th because that was already held by Los Dos. And then this situation, it just sucks. So I love that comment, Robert. I freaking love that comment. Eps to sabotage them. That's freaking incredible. We can't. We're screwed no matter what. We'll never please everybody, especially Phoenix fans. As for this move for just this match, I'm done talking about the Phoenix one. It is what it is.
We'll bring it up again later on. Don't worry about it.
As for the RGV match, I'm very upset that it's not being played tomorrow, just because I want soccer. I wanted soccer tomorrow, and I know that like our buddy Josh Kaskin wrote for Somos News back before, wrote for Chris last year. all around good dude. He's in town from Michigan. Was going to go, can't go now because it's not going to be there. He's not going to be here for the Saturday game, I don't believe. So he's missing out. So it just all in all, I just hate that it happens. And then for it to be moved to the 6th, where we have 15 games in 5 days, is what it feels like. I know I have it backwards, Seth. I did it on purpose. It's 5 games in 15 days, but humor me. It just sucks. It just really does suck. Luckily, 2 of those against RGV at home, so these could be worse. But it is what it is. It had to be done. I get it. Safety and field transformation and the rain, which we need. God knows we needed it. And it happens. Whatever. We'll move on.
Yeah, it's and
I said we'll move on.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding. I'm just
to this point here, like, we're all for the banter. We're all for poking fun. Guys, stop putting phallic images on our Twitter feed, please. Like, I don't want to have to mute you or hide replies, but I did. Like, it's not necessary. Like, you want to come at us, you want to banter. I even told them to come on the show. But where are they? They're not here. But yeah, so we're gonna have a very busy month of July. New Mexico United, obviously, there's going to be some rotation. There's going to be a lot of stuff going on over the next few weeks. A little bit more news. USL Championship Team of the Week is out. Rashid Tete and Sergio Rivas both named to the Team of the Week after their performances. Rashid is a guy that we haven't really talked about as much this season as I feel like we should. But Rosh is very quietly putting together a very good season, and watching Sergio play last week against Oakland, especially after he moved up top, like Sergio just did some amazing things. So congratulations to those guys. Obviously we know what Sergio can do. We've seen it, but let's talk about Rosh for a minute. Rosh is one of those guys who's been very quiet throughout his entire time here in New Mexico, but we've seen what he can do, particularly tracking back and making some recoveries on defense. What is he doing this season for you guys that's really helping him to stand out?
Go ahead, Earl.
I went on a minute playing that. No one fucking knew it. So I think Rosh is just playing smart. He's not making dumb turnovers. He's playing clean. He's not committing as many fouls as he was year 1 or year 2. He's just overall grown into a really good player. Really, all I can describe it as.
Jacob, what are you seeing out of Rosh?
The same thing I saw out of Rosh in year 1 when he was a rookie and was our best center back by far in year 1. Then he got hurt, had to make adjustments in how he played because he got hurt, had to get healthy. Now that he's healthy and 3 years down the road, we're seeing that he is one of the better defenders in this league. I would take him over several. I take him almost over anybody in a one-on-one situation. Everybody's going to get beat in a one-on-one situation at some point in time, but he's going to get beat a lot less than just about everybody, and as he's proven that time after time after time. With New Mexico United. And so to me, it's just him finally getting healthy and getting opportunity again after battling a couple injuries in a couple years. And then, when you battle injuries and you get replaced, sometimes you lose your job due to an injury if somebody else steps up and is playing really well. So I think that's what has happened the last 2 years. And we're just now seeing him come back into form health-wise and opportunity-wise that he had in year 1, because I don't think he got named our defender of the year in year 1, but he was our rookie of the year in year 1 pretty easily. And should have been our defender of the year, except for maybe Suggs. Suggs probably got it that year. But you think back to year one, we played that 4-4-2 a lot, and we had Schmidt and we had Tete. Sam played back there a little bit. Samson played back there a little bit in the two center back roles, and Tete was by far our best. Just it wasn't even close. So seeing him perform now, even though it's kind of in a different position, we've seen him way higher up the pitch the last several weeks. In fact, he's the one that had the hockey assist on the Wehan goal. He's the one that it wasn't a very complicated pass. He was just standing there. Everybody was kind of just standing there, but he was able to find a little space to get it to Nava and put it in a perfect spot for Nava to make that turn and get in position to put that cross in for Wehan to head home. So you're just seeing that he's just an all-around just soccer player. He's just going to do whatever it takes, whatever position you ask him to play. And now that he's healthy, that's just what we're seeing as he's perfectly capable of doing that.
Yeah, Rosh has really flourished out there on the right this season, and in a lot of instances, especially when we go to three at the back, we kind of see Kalen playing more out that left center back role, which is not necessarily something that we've seen a lot of. He's always been that more central defender. But we have Rosh playing as well as he has, and Will playing as well as he has. Like that does push Kalen out wider, which I think is not necessarily Kalen's strong suit. But you've got Rosh on the right, you've got Harry and/or Brucey coming down the left, and honestly, Rosh playing so well on the right. Brucey's not getting chances to play here lately, and like I said, it pushes everyone over the left, and so we're not seeing Ratty get in there. And I love Ratty because Ratty is incredibly physical out there. But Rosh's footballing intelligence has just been amazing to watch, and to see how he breaks down defenders over on that right. It's just been a lot of fun, and he's a really unsung guy. Doesn't get a lot of press, doesn't get a lot of talk. But yeah, he definitely well deserved for him and for Sergio this week for their performances. Robert with a question in the chat. Can we talk about Nava's Dumb and Dumber haircut? He's going to hear about it in San Antonio. Just saying.
So yes, we can talk about Nava's Dumb and Dumber haircut whenever we start talking about Mitchell Tainter's last name.
Yeah, so it feels like it's been like a week and a half since we last played. I know we just played on Wednesday of last week, but United did pick up a 2-1 win over Oakland Roots in a match that really kind of hinged at halftime.
Oh, we have a match to talk about. Wow.
Yeah, right? I really was going to kind of not talk about too much, but we got some time. So, you look at the way that we played last week, and you could see where Oakland's development has come from and where they're at. And they played really well in that first half. They picked up the goal there about midway through the half. And then in the second half, you bring on Christian Nava, and the match just turns on a dime. And we keep talking about Christian Nava, and people just don't listen to what we have to say. Like, I don't know what it's going to take, but he's getting press in the USL Championship website. He's getting mentions elsewhere, from John Morrissey, from other places. And like, Christian Nava is a guy to keep an eye on. Like, just his play on Wednesday night last week was absolutely astounding. He involved in both goals, and he's really become the driving force out of the midfield for us.
Yeah, Nava single-handedly changed the game. I mean, he came on.
We've already talked about how if he just saw more dead puppies when he was little, he would already be transferred out of the USL.
Yeah,
that's all it would.
Yeah.
If he had dead puppy neck tattoos,
Unfortunately, New Mexico
doesn't
believe in euthanizing dogs, and they believe in having 900 dogs in one animal shelter.
Like how you turn this. Never mind. Go ahead, Earl. Go ahead.
I should have took the night off.
Well, we had planned on it.
We say that every week.
Yeah. Well, so let me ask you this: like, what is it about the way that Christian plays that's really causing this this effect when he's on there. Like he's just making defenders miss.
It's his willingness to stand up to a grown ass man. I mean, he's not afraid of anyone of any size, and he will play against the biggest of the bigs. I mean, he's not afraid, and then he's just super fucking quick.
It's his speed and his motor. Yes, he does. Anyways, his speed and his motor. You saw that first goal. He gets the ball. One, he has a shit ton of space, which doesn't make any sense to me. But he receives that ball in the final or in their third, and is past the midway point on the pitch in 2 seconds. I mean, he's just gone because he has that much space and that much speed. And then his skill with the ball at his feet, whether it's that pass, I mean, an outside of the boot, inch perfect pass to Rivas for that first goal, or to lead up to that first goal, is just, I mean, just his touch is incredible. And you see that with him nutmegging opponents. You see him just putting opponents in a blender and just breaking ankles left and right. I mean, his skill with the ball is I would say unmatched on our team. Honestly, he has that, and then his motor. You see, he never stops. He is all over the freaking place, and he will maybe make a bad. For all the skill that he has on the ball, nobody's perfect with the ball, and I think, has a lot of confidence in himself when the ball's at his feet, and will occasionally dribble into trouble and get the ball taken away from him. But when that happens, he doesn't just put his head down and go, "Oh man," and then watch the play develop going away from him like some people, Santimar. He turns and busts his ass to get back on D, and more often than not, causes trouble enough to get a turnover. If he turns the ball over in our attacking third, he will get back and get the ball back before they get into their half. I think time and time again.
I think he's a huge part of that, because if you look at the past 2 years, I'll go back 2 years.
Tainter.
So if you go back 2 years, there's one person that we constantly talked about that would turn the ball over and then decide to set up a fucking picnic in the middle of the pitch and eat a fucking sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
We all know who I'm going to go to. Obviously, with that person being gone, we now have someone who, when he makes a mistake, he gets back and he owns up to it, and he knows that he fucked up, and he gets back and tries to correct his mistake. Where in times past, we would have the 3-letter person just decide to fucking pull out a barbecue grill and not play the rest of the game.
Yeah, and I think Harry hit it on. I mean, you guys have all kind of hit it on the head. You know, he's a high motor guy. He has creativity on the ball, and even just watching him from when he signed the academy last year to where he was at the beginning of this year, and now almost halfway through the season, like you can see the development there. A few weeks ago, we had the chance to talk to Zach and, talk about Christian Nava specifically. Where does Christian still have room to improve? And one of the things he talked about was his crossing. Does he have enough leg? Number one. Number two, his working on his accuracy. And, Nava, he's getting better every single game. And then that, of course, that cross into B's, like just absolutely spot on, perfect with the placement of that ball. And obviously, the finish from Bees was top notch as well. But yeah, like Christian's vision of the field, and we've heard the team talk about, like, his footballing IQ is off the charts. Like, he just seems to always put himself in a position to be involved in the play somehow, which is something that really early on this season, and for a lot of last year, we didn't have out of that midfield. And so I think this is something that we're going to keep seeing as the season goes on. And I would not be surprised to see rumors start popping up about, Nava getting an offer somewhere else.
Sorry, I keep getting into it with vagina plaster just because. It's actually turned fun to me. So we're going back and forth again. Yeah, he's not going to be here long, guys. He's too talented, has too much potential, and he's too young. I'm telling you, if he was 3 inches taller and 40 pounds bigger, he would have been gone before Luna, I think, because he would have been playing with the first team before that. The hesitation that's been with the first team is that his size just is a liability at times, and it still is. But he's played so well that you can't take him off. I mean, he started the first 3 matches in this 5-match win streak. He missed Orange County, I believe, altogether. It wasn't even in the 18 for some reason. But then he comes on in this game down 1-0, and if it's not for that move of bringing him in and moving Rivas up, that was a good one, Robert. I like this Robert guy. He's cool.
Yeah. The good thing is Nava won't need to go through the NIL to get it, though.
Yeah. But he's too talented not to get an offer from somebody. Where, I don't know, but he's going to go somewhere in the next year or so. He just is.
Yeah, he is. And so, we need to be fortunate that we have him for the time that we do, and, just enjoy watching his development and his contribution to this team while he's here. And, looking ahead, we've got Legion on Saturday now that there's no midweek match. And, I heard it described, a couple of different places, and earlier, especially over on the USL show, saying this could be the Nico Brett revenge tour or revenge match, since he did come over from Birmingham Legion. Legion are not playing up to where we saw them last year. They're currently sitting 6th over in the Eastern Conference on 22 points. So they're not far off of the form that United is in, but they've obviously played a couple more matches, lost a couple more than United has. So this is a match that's going to be really interesting because Legion come in 4 undefeated. We're on 7 undefeated, and Legion have won their last 3 in a row. They've got wins over Memphis, Phoenix Rising, obviously, and then New York Red Bulls. So looking at this match, this is not a team that we've seen before. Tomorrow night, Jacob and I are actually going to sit down with Kaylor Hodges from Hammering Down. We're going to talk to him a little bit. What do we expect on Saturday against Legion?
Especially not playing tomorrow. I expect an ass kicking is what I expect, honestly.
That would be nice. That would definitely be nice. Pick up a win against another, strong Eastern Conference club. And I do say strong for Legion. Again, they came off of a fantastic season last year. I feel like they're finding their form now. And so, looking at what they do, I mean, they're still very much a club that's dangerous in the attack. They're not necessarily weak at the back, at least from what I've seen. But they're just very inconsistent in the way that they play.
Yeah, unfortunately, I haven't been able to watch them near as much as I thought I was going to at the beginning of the year. I was really excited to watch them at the beginning of the year. Mm-hmm. And like you said, they're rounding into form now. But if we were getting paid for it, Harry, you would get a cut. But volunteer is volunteer, buddy. So if you want a cut of 0, then it has to be 0, my friend.
You can get my cut because I wasn't even invited.
No, you were, kind of.
We assume again. We thought you were off this week. Yeah, we did mention you. Yeah.
We mentioned you. Yeah, Harry mentioned you,
but you're not on Twitter. So.
You don't get on your Twitter hardly at all, and then
or at all because I don't use Twitter.
Even though you have a Twitter that he tagged you in.
He has 2.
He tagged at Earl Nieto.
Earl has 2 Twitters.
Apparently he has 2 Twitters. I think I do too, believe it or not. But the first one I made like in 2012, and I follow like the NBA, and that's it. Yeah. But anyways, don't feel bad, Earl. Don't feel bad.
Oh, I don't, because while you guys are talking your lives away, I will be making sure my money don't jiggle and it folds.
Seth's face was incredible right there.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be interesting to sit down with Kaler tomorrow night. Again, something we've tried to do over the past couple of seasons is talk to people that cover clubs that we don't normally talk to. And Kaler is one of the ones that, that we were really interested in. We're setting up something with another club as well here in a couple of weeks. Because I really want to know more about Birmingham and how they've played and how they've adjusted since the loss of Nico and a couple other changes that they made in the offseason. So Prosper Kasim, obviously, they're the top scorer this year. He scored the game winner against Phoenix a couple weeks ago. Obviously they're going to try to feed him the ball. They're going to try to get him involved. But yeah, I just, again, we've talked about it last couple of seasons without seeing these Eastern Conference clubs, regularly. It's really hard to kind of pinpoint what it is they want to do. So as far in terms of what United is going to want to do Saturday against Legion, what do you think is the key for United in this match?
Score.
Hard hitting.
Do you think we should score more goals?
Hard.
Yeah, I can tell you
hitting.
what the
Hard hitting.
the team that scores the most goals will win.
Yeah, more than likely.
No, but really, it's going to be exactly what we hit on all night. I mean, if we can control the midfield and be able to focus the midfield on passing to the attack, I mean, we should be fine. If we could exploit their back line, which, I mean, if Tainter is there, we might be okay as long as he keeps the last name. But yeah, so that's my thing is if we focus on the midfield and just attack from the midfield to the attacking line, we should be fine.
Quick update from Open Cup. LA Galaxy are still level with Sacramento 1-1 in the 63rd minute.
Oh, the Open Cup's going on right now?
Yeah, there's one match tonight, 2 matches tomorrow, and then one next week.
Wow. When does
Yeah.
Omaha play? Tomorrow?
Tomorrow, yeah. Nashville and Orlando play next week. So, yeah, Sacramento got scored in the opening 5 minutes of this match tonight, and then LA Galaxy came back and scored. I think it's around like the 25th. I don't remember. I was watching earlier, but
18.
it's been a pretty good game. Yeah, been a pretty good game so far. So keeping that going. For me, looking at how Legion plays and looking at the talent that they have on their roster, I don't feel like the pace is going to be too much of an issue because we've shown at the back that we can handle that. I think again, I think we've been saying it all season long. The creativity out of the midfield. Obviously Justin Portillo, one of the best chance creators in the entire USL this season. Christian Navas getting up there. Chris Wehan has been improving as the season has gone on. I think that's going to be it. The creativity and the link-up play out of the midfield and moving the ball forward. You've got to keep pushing and creating opportunities because to me, what I've watched from the East this season is that they're going to give up a lot of goals. They're not necessarily 100% sound at the back. They're going to give up opportunities. They're going to give up goals. And if you can force the issue out of the midfield, you're going to put them into a bad spot. And so I think, guys like Nava and Portillo are going to play an important role on Saturday.
Yeah, I've come to the conclusion that in soccer, whoever wins the midfield battle is probably going to be in a pretty good shape to win the game.
Mm-hmm.
And you see that with us. You look at last year compared to this year and look at the midfield and how well they've played. Last year, Earl's favorite and a few others. Then you look at the difference this year and it's like, oh, wow, okay. So that's how it should look. And when we've played well, Nava and Portillo and Hamilton, Rivas have all performed well in the midfield, and that's been a huge difference.
And really, it wasn't. Let me go back. It wasn't just JPG.
No, it wasn't.
It was
Not last
also
year.
the mass accumulation of yellow cards throughout the entire midfield that we just had to play cautiously. We're not seeing as many yellow cards unless your name is Justin Portillo.
We're really far down on the list of cautions received this year.
Yeah, we're not receiving as many yellow cards as what we have in 2 years past. I mean, I think we've probably had maybe 5 to 8 total yellow cards.
No, we've had more than that. Some more than that.
I think it's
We're
around
probably
15. Let me double
yeah.
check.
That's what I would say. I would say between like 15 and 18, but it's still not nearly what we had last year. I bet.
I
At
think
this
we had
time.
18 in one game last year.
Loudon.
No, that was a different match. That was the San Antonio.
Oh yeah, we probably had. There were probably 3 matches that combined us for 18 last year. I feel confident saying that.
No, 33 yellows received this year for us. But
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
you talk about I mean,
Way more than I thought,
the
but-
least in the league is 25. So, but yeah, compared to last year, like you know, we had Tanari, you had JPG, you had some other guys picking up yellows pretty consistently through the midfield, and you know, you had like Earl said, you have to play cautiously through that. And I was tracking the yellow cards and red cards last year, and it was a lot. I'll have to go back and pull up my spreadsheet and look at the final numbers, but like, it was just ridiculous. But yeah, we're definitely playing smarter this season than we have.
Do I root for Sacramento here? By the way,
Yes.
I do.
Yeah. Yes, you root for Sacramento here.
You're an LAFC fan. You have to root against Galaxy all the time.
That's true. That's true.
We are lower league soccer.
I know, but
We're also a lower
Sacramento.
league podcast.
Oh, Robert, believe me, the baby shark chant. No, I don't.
I disagree
But-
completely. I have kids, and so I have to listen to Baby Shark anyways. So I might as well put a soccer spin on it.
I'd rather see the Nava gonna give you up one.
That one's pretty good too. But
Yeah,
my kids don't know what that is. So
that's true.
for the longest time it was Jamie Tart
Yeah.
Jamie Tart, and I'll still do that every once in a while, and it pisses my kids off, which is why I do it.
Yeah. So I mean, Birmingham on Saturday. I mean, yeah, I think we've hit all we're going to on that. I mean, what are our scoreline predictions? I know over on USL show there was one person that said, I believe it was 1-1 to United, a 1-1 draw. Someone said United picks up a win on the road. I didn't catch the third prediction on that one, but Jake, looks like you said 3-0.
3-0.
Okay.
Dick.
Were you gonna go 3-0?
Mm-hmm.
Fine, 4-0. Okay.
No, it's okay. You say 3-0. I'll go 2-1.
3-0, 2-1.
3-0 to 2-1. You could have said 2-0. But no. Apparently my
No, we always
3-0
seem to
makes
we
me
always seem to
question.
give up a goal at some random inopportune time. So
I feel like
yeah,
2-1 is
2-1.
probably the most common scoreline in soccer. And so that's probably a good guess.
There's probably some data out there somewhere. We could probably try to find it, but
Well, you're the professional here, so I'll let you.
I think our academy kids would perform better than that.
yeah, our academy gets are pretty good.
Goal.
You know, looking at
Sacramento
Hang on.
just scored.
Seth,
Sacramento just
oh
scored.
my
Seth.
word.
Yeah, why do you think I was
You
yelling goal? I was
Seth, you take a
Wow.
timeout and you acknowledge the fact that Sacramento is beating Galaxy.
in the
Jonathan
70th minute.
Klinsmann in goal too. Wow.
Don't know who that is, but okay.
Jurgen Klinsmann's son.
Oh,
That doesn't mean anything to me.
Jurgen Klinsmann, former U.S. national team
I know who
coach.
he is. It
Okay.
doesn't mean anything to me that he's in the goal. It was a banger too. It was from way out.
Here's the replay. Oh wow, he gets the ball back off the steal.
Just right underneath the arms.
Oh,
Great
wow.
goalkeeping. Great goalkeeping there.
How did he not get to that?
He did. He just went over the top of it.
Oh, it took a slight deflection, did it?
no,
No.
I don't think it does.
no, that
He
was a
just
curve
misses
on
it.
Oh no, it didn't. Yeah. Wow.
Robert
And
talking
this,
shit about
folks,
Sacramento's.
is the only time you'll ever see Jacob or Seth smile.
That's insane.
Robert talking shit about Sacramento's field makes me happy.
Yeah, Sacramento's field is terrible. Legion actually have one of the league's worst conversion rates. They're only converting 8.4% of their shots. We're obviously doing a little bit better than that. And I know there was some talk on the USL show earlier about, Sacramento going on a break. Sorry, I'm like
You're
invested
behind
in this
for
match
one.
now. Yeah, a little bit. Pause it and I'll skip ahead.
I'll keep you updated. Don't worry. I can multitask.
I can too.
I couldn't tell.
No, I just saw it happen out of the corner of my eye. I'll give that a look. But United's conversion rate has gone up. Obviously, the Phoenix Rising match played into that. But we're better offensively. I think we're a better defensive club. I'm going to go 2-0 again this week. I feel like Alex picks up another clean sheet and pulls it even with Cody Mizell for most clean sheets in club history.
Prediction.
Yes. Earl, we're still moving along at a clip here. We're still an hour in.
You just blew Earl's mind.
Yeah. There's soccer on. I got distracted. What can I say? It's not hockey.
Hockey is incredible.
If I could find a team to follow and like really sit down and get into it, like we did cricket last year, I might be more inclined to watch it. So
you can watch every Avalanche game.
How so?
You're not missing much though.
It's called Altitude Sportsnet, and I will give you my password. And you can watch every Avalanche game.
Can I go back and watch all of them on replay?
No.
Yes.
You have to watch them live. On Altitude, you have to watch them live.
Okay.
If they're on ESPN Plus, which some of them are, you can watch them on ESPN
Plus. Robert, we appreciate you being here, bud. We really do. Like, we're just honestly, we're sports fans in general. Like, yes, we talk to Mexico United, we cover New Mexico United, but
Seth, you cannot use the word fan.
Okay.
You are a sports. You take sports in. You take sports in. You are the soulless robot.
Yes.
And so you cannot. Well, no, you're a fan of Atlanta sports because you're irrational about them texting us after our 5th win in a row that you guys won 14 straight in the middle of freaking June.
Yeah.
So dumb.
So there you have it. There's our recap of last week, our predictions for this week. We've talked about the saltiness of the USL Twitter. We've talked about a whole lot of different things. I did have one final topic I wanted to get to you guys, and it's regarding USL media, particularly smaller outlets. Do you think that there's a point at which the league or clubs need to step in and say, hey, if you're not putting out quality content, if you're not putting out regular content, if you're not being at least attempting to be professional at times, because this is in reference to a couple different things. And I mean, you guys know part of it. And there's another person on Twitter that covers a different club that has been rather salty despite being a professional about things. Like, do you think there's a point at which the clubs in the league need to step in and say, hey, we're going to revoke access, or we're going to step in and kind of, say, hey, we need to have a discussion about the content you're putting out or how you're acting, out there. Do you think that's a necessary step by the league, or do you think that the clubs in the league just are okay staying, hands off?
I'm torn on this.
Okay.
I think hands off is where I eventually fall. If you'd have given me more time than 2 seconds to fucking think about it, Seth, maybe I could think it through and have a different thought. But in general, I think no, we wouldn't be talking about Phoenix.
No, we don't ever talk about the people that cover Phoenix. No, never.
Shouts to Wayne.
Yeah.
I think that you get into a slippery slope when that happens. Of you want whoever's covering the team to be honest about it, how they
Mhm.
feel, what they're seeing, what they're reporting. You want it to be honest. If they are reporting inaccurate things, that is something that definitely needs to be squashed, because that is not opinion. If it's fact, if you're putting it out there as fact, it needs to be fact.
Yes.
But that's for anything. That is for, I don't know if you guys saw the USA Today reporter, who had
all the
like-
all the fake
like
sources.
20
Yes.
of her articles taken down because she was fabricating sources,
Yes,
and then
I
not
saw
giving
that.
credit to certain people. And I mean, it was just shit show. If you've got stuff like that going on, anything near that, if you're saying it, for instance, if the situation is when it comes to regarding open dates for rescheduling matches, and not that it is, I'm just hypothetically speaking, if you're out there saying, well, there were open dates but they just didn't want to give us one, and you're just wrong on that, that's there's a problem there, and the league needs to step in, especially because when it comes to USL, the majority of fans are getting their source or their knowledge of situations and things from these smaller media outlets like us. And so if you're wanting to be that outlet, you damn well better have your facts straight. And if you don't, and you're portraying it as facts, then that's a problem. Now, if you're a podcast like us and we're full of fans, if I'm not reporting anything, but I'm saying, hey, this is really pissing me off that this is happening, like, sure, you could use Phoenix as another example here and say, say you're upset that they haven't fired Rick Shantz. If you want to talk shit about Rick Shantz and the organization, fine, more power to you. If you're a media person and you're saying that kind of stuff, fine, whatever. Opinion is opinion. That's, if you're upset about it, you're upset about it. But if you're out there saying, hey, I'm hearing that this is happening, when it comes to Rick Shantz, I hear that they're not going to fire Rick Shantz, even though that might not be true. Or, hey, I hear so-and-so's leaving, blah, blah, blah. If you're out there reporting it as fact and it's not, that's a problem.
Yeah, and Robert, this is kind of what we're talking about. Like that's what I'm kind of asking the question. Like, does the USL need to have some sort of guidelines for the media, for the people that are being credentialed for these matches? Like, does there need to be a standard across the league? Because there are some people that are out there perpetuating incorrect information. We, over the past 4 years, Jacob and Earl through Somos Unidos News, myself through Seek and Strike, and now through Somos Mas, like, we've worked on our relationship with the club to the point where we can reach out to the club on at any given time, basically, and say, hey, we have these questions. Hey, can we talk to a certain player or someone in the office or a coach? Like, we've had coach on the show. We've had some other folks on the show. David Carl has come on a couple times. And we've tried to, build relationships around the league as well, with other shows. And, we want to be, and I've had conversations with the clubs that, we want to be a source for the club. We want to be, recognized as, not say like an official partner of the club or anything like that, but we want to be recognized as like part of the local media that can be trusted, and when we try to, we source all of our information from the club directly. We don't go in and around. We talk to the club directly. And if we haven't confirmed something, we won't say, hey, this is confirmed. We won't perpetuate false information. And, like we try to have civil conversations across social media with different outlets and with different people. And I think the league needs to have a standard in what is being put out there. That's kind of where I'm at. I mean, Earl, you've obviously, you were one of the ones that helped start Somos Unidos news. You've been involved, since the beginning as well. I mean, and you guys work directly with the players, directly with the club. I mean, was there ever a sense that if you guys like kind of stepped out of that the club would like break down that agreement that you guys had, or that the club wouldn't give you the access that you had?
I want to say no. For the longest time, I don't even know what access we had, to be honest. I knew one person who had media passes. I don't even know how I got access later on. I really don't know how it worked out. But to be honest, year one, I don't think if we decided to fold this paper up and call it good, I don't think the club would have had any kind of qualms about it.
Okay. I mean, and Robert here, yes, a standard would make sense to avoid misinformation. Misinformation is not good for the collective, and I completely agree. I think that's a very valid point there. I mean, obviously, there's always going to be rumor around athletes and contracts and all that kind of stuff. Rumor about stadiums and all this kind of stuff. But when you're just flat out saying something wrong, like at least own up to it. Like, say, hey, look, we got this wrong. We got the reporting wrong on this. And I think there are too many sources, too many outlets that aren't willing to do that. And I think there's too many outlets across the league that don't put in the effort to put out high quality content on a regular basis and even those that are, some of them aren't sourcing their information. So I think a standard needs to be set in order to help the growth of the league. And Jacob, like you said, it's small outlets that are really putting the information out there that are giving people inroads. Like, we're fortunate here in town that we have the Journal, we have KOB, KRQE, KOET that are all at the games. We're at the games. You've got ESPN Radio at the games. And so, we have a lot of different outlets here that some other clubs may not have. And so I kind of think like in our situation, we have a lot of people that are involved enough that we kind of keep each other honest. No one's going to put something out there. We all have the same access. We all have the same ability to reach out to the club or be at pressers. I mean, what do you think, what steps, if any, does the league need to take? Or do they just say, hey, look, leave it up to the clubs and go from there, let the clubs decide? Because we've heard of clubs that give out different levels of access. We've heard of clubs that have been given approval to deny access to certain outlets, based on how they handle themselves in public.
I don't know about, like, I don't feel like I'm qualified to sit here and say these are the standards that need to be out there, set by the USL. I think it should be up to the teams to monitor what outlets are saying about them, reporting about them, and if there's a problem, they need to tackle it themselves. When it comes to media, or the access that media gets from the club, I think the club should monitor that themselves. I'm not necessarily one for setting a standard league-wide necessarily, because like for us, we're kind of different than the Journal, and we should be kind of different than the Journal because we're coming at it from a different perspective than the Journal. And I could very easily say, or very easily see, if some universal standard was created, that could hinder some of the stuff that we have the freedom to say that's not reported on. Like what we report on, we try our best. We just flat out don't report things that we don't have backed up, that
Right.
we don't have sourced properly. But we say opinion things a lot on here that I know aren't necessarily politically correct or things that the club might not necessarily want us to say or agree with us. When you look at our Juan Pablo Guzman hate, it could very easily see a standard saying you can't cross certain lines when talking about players that we might not have crossed, but we might toe that line.
Mhm.
And I don't want the media to be restricted like that as far as opinions go. So
we can tell you for a fact, Robert, that the club does pay attention, at least from New Mexico
club,
United.
anyways,
From our club. The club knows what we talk about. You know,
they know they listen, they watch, they listen, whatever. They follow. They're active on Twitter and social media. They know what is said about us on there. They know what other teams have said about us on there. They keep up with it. It's
the conversation I had earlier with the club, like they were very well aware of what was being said on Twitter. Like, you know, we were being, you know, we were trying to have a civilized conversation about what was going on, and then the reactions to it. Like the club was very well aware. Like they saw what was happening, and you know, had conversation about that. And you know, they pop in, they listen, they watch, they'll sit in on the show, like so they know what we talk about. And I mean, there's other clubs where you don't see that, and you know, we're not saying that the clubs have to go and like hire somebody or do whatever, you know, but just I think that most clubs are aware enough of the social media presence of those covering the club that if something was out of line, they could step in and say, "Hey, look, we don't appreciate you guys saying this. Like this isn't, you know, something along those lines." That's just kind of like where I'm at with it. And you know, we have our relationship with the club, and we don't like. Well, there are things that we know that we do not talk about, you know, because we don't want to lose that trust with the club. Like several during season 1, as an example, the local media here leaked that United was going to play a friendly against Cardiff City. It was on the TV broadcast. I think it was KOB, KOAT. One of them leaked it early.
I will tell you right now, it was KOAT.
Yeah,
because the picture of the TV that was all over social media was my TV.
Yeah,
and it was a disaster. Well, it wasn't a disaster for me. I was just saying, "Hey guys, look what I saw." But I think KOAT got some.
Yeah, so it got leaked, you know, and at the time I was with Seek and Strike, and I reached out to the club, to someone at the club. I said, "Hey, is this official? You know, can we talk about this?" And the person at the club confirmed it. I put out a simple tweet, and the communications director at the time started an investigation. They reached out to me. I said, "Look, I saw it on TV. I reached out. Someone confirmed it. So like, and I didn't tell them who I got it from, you know, but they're very well aware of what goes on. And yeah, Ron's a really good guy. Love Ron to death. But yeah, and you know, when the Los Dos match that announcement came out, like the club made a very conscious decision to not step in and say something, you know, and same with the Rising. You know, they tried to disengage as much as possible because they knew what was going on with the Rising stuff.
Robert, I have a question for you. It's kind of random, kind of not, because well, you'll see. And Harry, if you're still here, I would like your opinion as well. I just started following this league in 2019 when we came into it. So can you guys tell me how good Phoenix was before 2019, and if they were the definition of mediocre or not. That's all I would like to know.
But yeah, like, and so like there are things that, like I said, there are things that we know,
Random, I know.
like we knew about the Los Dos match well before it got announced. We knew that, like we knew it was on the books. We knew the club was waiting for that, waiting for league approval. And so like when the announcement came out, we even said, hey, look, this is what the situation was, but we couldn't say anything. We knew pretty much all the signings ahead of time. We, through our own deductive reasoning.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, through our own deductive reasoning. Jacob figured some out, Earl figures some out, just looking at stuff, And so we worked with the club to try to confirm the information before it even happened,
I'm pretty sure I only figured out just one.
Yeah. And just we wanted to make sure we had the right information. So
and I don't know how much I don't know how much of it was figured out as in, or if it was more just blurted out an idea and it ended up being true. But
yeah. I mean, the Cody Mizell signing, like, they took very clear audio from Open Cup a couple of years ago. So like, stuff like that. But, we take our relationship with the club seriously. And, we try not to overstep our bounds. But the club has always been willing to work with us on trying to get us folks. Like we tried to get Cody Mizell on the show a couple weeks back before he went back to New York. And so unfortunately we couldn't get him, but I think it's important that we make sure that we're reporting accurate information and not like overstep anything.
Yeah. I mean, I joke about Seth being a soulless robot. Earl's called basically everybody in media soulless bastards. And we joke about it plenty, but at the same time, we're not running our mouth off when we don't have anything actually sourced or proven. So be better, media. Be better.
Yeah, there you go.
When was that, Robert?
I want to say it was 2018 when he stepped in.
So here's what because I looked it up. Because what's his name? Vagina Plaster was running his mouth off on Twitter because that's what Vagina Plaster does. And he said, "Oh well, we don't have a standard of mediocrity like you guys do in New Mexico. We hold ourselves. We're used to winning. Blah 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 blah." Well, I looked it up, and funny thing, I think before 2019, when they won the Supporter Shield going away, in the regular season at least, it was like 5th, 8th, 6th, 10th, 11th, 13th. Not spectacular by any means. So I just thought it was funny that they were talking shit. And I had seen, I just looked at the standings, obviously, but I wanted to know if those actually were representative of kind of how they were. So I just thought I'd ask.
Coming out of the final minute out in LA, Sacramento's
Yes,
still up 2-1. Wow. Yeah, I think that's a great way to look at it, Robert. I mean, every club is going to go through their struggles at times, and it does make your club stronger. When you start bringing in those pieces and you start figuring out a way to win, and start turning around and getting the results, and pushing your way up the table. Like it's absolutely like I think that's better than just saying, all right, do your Drogba, here's your giant injection of money, go out and buy some championships. But yeah, no, it's, we enjoy doing this. We enjoy our relationship with the club. We do this for fun, and we can be critical. We can be positive. We can take the stances that we want and still be able to be objective.
It's over. Sacramento
it
moving
is.
on.
Another cup set. There we go. Sacramento moves on to USOC semifinals. Wow.
Would they play Omaha, or do you know?
I don't know.
I don't either.
I'd have to look at it. But we will figure that out for sure. But yeah, so I think that's gonna just about do it for us tonight. Jacob, you want to go ahead and get us out of here?
Yeah, of course. Robert, thank you for joining us. Thank you for the comment or the compliment. I won't let Phoenix know that you said anything nice about us. Henry, Harry, I guess you're gone. But
That's big
appreciate.
time.
He's in Mountain Standard Time now, so he should be up. So, but I guess he's not. Always appreciate you joining in. One game to talk about next week. It's a big one. Again, Seth mentioned it earlier. I believe Friday on the Hammering Down podcast, we will be featured on it with a conversation that we're going to have tomorrow with Kaylor Hodges. Very excited about that. Always like listening to other people's opinions on other team media coverage when it comes to stuff like this, and when we get these, especially these matchups that don't happen very often. Again, show me an angle, Robert. Show me an angle. That's all I care about. If you prove me wrong, I will admit that I'm wrong. I will, but I just haven't been proven yet. So again, thank you, everybody. We'll be back next week, 9:00 on Tuesday. And hopefully we're talking about 3 points from Birmingham, and who knows, we're playing really well right now, but I'm not going to start counting chickens before they hatch. So Saturday, 7:00?
7:00.
Saturday, 7:00. If you can, go to the lab, be there, make some noise. If not, ESPN Plus, great thing there. I hate ESPN's app most of the time when it comes to like ESPN, but ESPN Plus usually works pretty well for us, and it'll be Tyler and Hursty, I think, on the call. So that's always.
Yeah, it might, because JJ was going to be on tomorrow night, but
yeah. So I don't know who it is. It's going to be Tyler for sure. I don't know who else is going to be with him, but great when Tyler's on the call every time, no matter what. So if you can't make it out to the lab, be sure to check that out. And until next week, guys, Somos Unidos.